We were able to get more followers and subscribers than McDonald's, Chipotle, and Burger King and Tim Hortons combined.
It's amazing. Welcome to the Built by Me podcast. Today, we're speaking to Aly, CMO and co-founder of Tahinis. Tahinis is a Middle Eastern restaurant. And today, Aly talks to us about how he scaled the restaurant up to now over 39 franchise locations, Bitcoin, as well as owning your supply chain. Now, let's get into the podcast. All right. Welcome, Aly, to the Built by Me podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So let's, why don't we start with who is Aly?
Well, I'm sort of an immigrant from Egypt. And I say sort of because my father was the original immigrant to Canada. He came here like 40 years ago. But then he went back, and I was born back in the Middle East. Oh. And I grew up there, but I was born as a Canadian citizen. But just, my upbringing was in between like Egypt and Saudi Arabia. And I spent like most of my life there, and then graduated from Egypt back in 2011. Took part of the Egyptian Revolution of that year. And then by the end of 2011, I came to Canada. I immigrated back here to Canada to sort of start my career. Me and my brother were wanting to, start a business or own a business. And we found this little restaurant in downtown London back then that was for sale. So we bought it and we started in our restaurant journey. And then here we are today. We're a franchise business called Tahinis, and we have 39 locations all over the country.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That one.
That's just sort of a summary. I don't know.
No, that's
that was
good.
good.
I don't know if you wanted me to go in detail, but
No, I do have a question though. Like, why shawarma?
it was just by chance. Like I said, we delved into the shawarma business just because we wanted to own a business, and we decided to master it to the limit, right? So we became shawarma masters from there, and focused on being the best that we can be.
Did either one of you work in restaurants or have any? No.
Nope.
It's just from there, you're like, we want to open up a restaurant.
Yeah.
We went in with literally like zero experience in the restaurant industry. We did tons of mistakes throughout the years, especially at the beginning. But you know what? We worked our butts off, and we made it happen.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of trial and error is like a really good way to learn. You guys are
Absolutely.
so successful.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely had a lot of errors.
That's how you get better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting because typically, like what you find is most restaurant owners, they start off like working in a restaurant, building their way kind of up, and then saying, you know what, I want to jump. What kind of drove you guys to say, you know what, let's just buy this restaurant from the get-go, right? And then get right into it.
At the time, it was just like I don't know if you remember our first restaurant. It was like downtown London. And downtown London back then, it kind of died down right now, but back then it was like, it was one of the best spots in the city to have a restaurant. Just because of like the night crowd and the business crowd, and it was just booming. And we just saw that opportunity and said, you know what, this is a good idea to have that type of business in that location. And thank God it worked out great.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What how did that conversation go? Like, I mean, usually a restaurant that's like thriving and going, did you guys just go up to the owner and say, hey, we want to buy you guys out? How did that kind of work out?
Yeah, no, so they actually wanted to sell the restaurant.
I see. Okay, yeah.
So the previous owners of that restaurant, they wanted to open another restaurant at a different location.
I see. Okay.
But they didn't have the capital, so they needed the capital to start up their second restaurant.
Okay.
And that's exactly what they did. So they took that money from the sale and they opened this second restaurant, which is still here to this day. It's called Bearcat on Western Road in London, Ontario. And and then from there we ran it as Bearcat for a few years, and then we just decided like it was kind of getting confusing how there's like two owners of the same brand.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not franchised or anything. Right?
Yeah. So we said, you know what, we just want to have our own brand. So we rebranded to Tahinis at that point, and changed a lot of things about the company, about the restaurant. And it was fought back a little bit. People were upset at the beginning, but then we found our way, and we found our audience, and we found our guests and our customers, and it worked out.
How did you come up with that name?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I was just thinking that.
The way, so our dream, which is still our dream till this day, is that we want to be the Chipotles of the Middle East.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then Chipotle, Chipotle's name is their main sauce,
Right.
which is Chipotle sauce.
Yeah.
And so we kind of like, from that perspective, we thought, Tahinis is,
Your main sauce.
our
Yeah.
main sauce. And so let's name it Tahinis. And it's a good name.
It is. I
Yeah.
really like it.
So can we tell the audience, for those that don't know what tahini actually means? Can you explain what that means?
Absolutely. So tahini is one of the most popular Middle Eastern sauces. It's in every Middle Eastern country. People make tahini. Every country has their own spin on it and their own twist. But essentially what it is, it's sesame paste mixed with water, lemon, and salt.
Oh, nice.
And it's like a savory sauce. It's not a sweet, or it's not a spicy type of sauce. It's just like a savory sauce. But the beauty about it is that like, if you add like cumin onto it, it gives it a certain flavor. If you add,
You can change it up.
if you add cayenne pepper, it makes it like a spicy tahini. If you add
Yeah.
garlic to it, it gives it different flavor, right? So it's very versatile, and it just tastes good with everything. You
That's
put
cool.
tahini sauce on barbecue,
Yeah.
it tastes amazing. You put tahini sauce on like seafood, it tastes
Really
amazing.
good.
And you
Yeah.
think like, oh no, tahini's only good on barbecue, but it's not. You put it on chicken, it's freaking delicious, right?
Yeah.
It's just a great sauce that goes well with everything. And I love tahini. I can go on about tahini for hours.
I love how passionate you are about the sauce, but I also love how like the name kind of pulls from that, because the restaurant itself is also versatile. You guys try different things, and when you add something to tahini, then that's when it can elevate the flavor. And you guys have a lot of cool different flavors of shawarma. It's not just like regular. It's not just chicken. It's like you're telling me that the blueberry flavor. It's just like it's just different. So I really like how the name kind of pays homage to that as well.
Yeah, so I think that's what gives us our competitive edge in the market in a lot of ways. So we changed our philosophy to be more of a fusion type cuisine.
Yeah.
Where, because if you look in Canada, there's people from all over the world, right? You're from Haiti, you're from Lebanon, I'm from Egypt. There's people from all over the world here in Canada. So what we do best here is we combine different cuisines into our own cuisine and
Right.
make it Canadian in a way.
Different flavors.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have like butter chicken shawarma, which is like Indian cuisine and Middle Eastern cuisine put together.
Yeah.
We have Jamaican jerk shawarma, right? Jamaican and Middle Eastern. We have shawarma poutine, which is Canadian and Middle
Right,
Eastern.
right.
We have gyros, which is Greek, right? We have blueberry flame is sort of like blueberry flavor is like a Western also thing, like a very American
Yeah.
thing. So we combined that with our shawarma, and we made like a blueberry flame shawarma.
I love it. That's actually my favorite one.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
I have to try that one.
It's pretty good. So this is kind of like what we do best.
Yeah.
And this is what separates us from from our competition, because nobody else in Canada does these types
Yeah.
of shawarmas.
You see a lot of the traditional stuff.
Yeah, it's mainly traditional. Some restaurants actually now started making butter chicken shawarma just from how popular
Yeah.
we've made it.
Yeah.
You're the blueprint.
and which is fine. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the more the better. Like, I always, you know, see that like shawarma industry here is still young and growing, and I always believe that, you know, the whole industry driving it forward can make the pie bigger, and then everybody benefits. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a positive.
That's cool.
It's a great mindset to have.
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I want to ask. So you went from, so going back to the story, you went from single store location, London, Ontario, downtown, bought it from a previous owner, to 39 locations now across Canada.
Yeah, actually
Is that-
40 now, because the
Wow.
40th location just opened like
Wow,
last
that's
week.
Oh,
amazing.
congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
That's
Thank
a
you.
huge milestone. 40 locations.
Yeah, that's-
wow.
That's big. So how did you? Okay, so walk us through that journey, right? Like walk us through like when did you decide to franchise? Why did you guys decide to franchise?
So we decided to franchise back in like 2017, 2018. But the groundwork for starting a franchise business takes a lot, and the amount of work that you need to put in before you open your first franchise took basically like 4 years to complete.
Wow.
So for like 3-4 years, we were just working on that in the background, building the systems, building the, you know, the paperwork involved, building the model, building the strategy, building the supply chain. So that all took like years in development, and then from there, we opened our first franchise location. I believe it was like 2020 or 2019. Can't remember exactly, but it was around that time, and then that's when it just took off, and we had like the everything in place for liftoff, and then we had all the interests built up as well. So a lot of people come to us and they're like, "Hey, we want to open a Tahinis. We want to open a
Right.
Tahinis." So we just, okay, sure, but just wait a little bit. We're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
working
we're
on
not
this.
ready.
Wait a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit. So there's a lot of partners of ours that were just waiting on the
Yeah.
sidelines, waiting for us to get ready. And then when we were ready, we just went full throttle. In 2020, we went full throttle. Like during the pandemic, we started our expansion phase, which is a bit scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked out. So from 2020, we just, you know, kept opening stores all the way now. So we went at 2020, at the beginning of it, we were at 4 stores.
Okay, I was going to ask. Okay,
Yeah, so we went-
10x in
Yeah, that's
4
fast.
years.
Yeah, so we went
Wow.
from 4 stores in 2020 to 40 stores
Wow.
2024. Yeah.
It must have been really encouraging to have people coming and asking too, like, we want to open.
Yeah,
Instead of like
absolutely.
you having to go out and like look for people. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're that's always like that's always something that we just, you know, we don't take it for granted. Like
Yeah.
we work really hard at Tahinis, and when people want to open a Tahinis, it's a great partnership.
Yeah.
We think of it as a partnership, so we call every one of these guys our partners.
Yeah.
We don't call them like franchisees. We call
I
them our
love it.
partners. And it's a good ride to be on.
How did you even know how to, I guess, franchise? How to even start?
Oh yeah, we didn't know anything. We did at the beginning. We didn't know anything, but we figured it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you have coaches? Like, did you seek out the information?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you want something really bad, you just gotta find a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a cliche saying, I don't want to say it, but if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
What about like some of the main, like looking back, obviously, because the journey has been pretty quick, right? What would you say, like for any business operator that's listening or thinking about, that owns a restaurant, that's thinking about, you know what, maybe I want to franchise my business. Like, what would you say to them in terms of like, what are some of the challenges that you faced or obstacles that you guys had to go through to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, running a single store or like a few stores like a mom and pop style is very different from running a franchise. You need to basically systemize everything.
Yeah.
So we call it SOPs, standard operating procedures. So standard operating procedures for a restaurant should be built on everything, right? The making of the recipes, the making of the wraps, the handling of the guests. So everything has a well thought, well built SOP, standing operating procedure, that we're able to train somebody on how to do, right? So if you want like your DNA, spread across 40 restaurants, it's pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
But if you have ways to train people on how to do every single thing, then it gets a lot easier. So I think that is probably the biggest challenge for anybody thinking about a franchise. But there's also like lots of things that you don't know, legal work, real estate experience, there's tons of that you just have to learn along the way.
Was it difficult moving that mindset shift from like, I run everything, I know everything, to being like, I'm giving over, here's the standard operating procedure, here's the keys, here's the new location, and then hoping that, like, how does that, because I think that's a big challenge that, people go through, right? Is that I have a successful restaurant, I've considered franchising, but I'm worried about handing over that piece because it's like my baby. You know what I mean?
It's very hard. We still struggle with this to this day. It's never going to be a problem that we're going to come say, oh, we fix it, right? It's always like a work in progress. If you fix one thing, another thing, arises. So you just have to constantly be tweaking it, and then it just becomes your job, right? Your job is to make sure that if somebody comes to a Tahinis in London, Ontario, and a Tahinis in Calgary, Alberta, they taste exactly the same. They get the same type of experience. They get the same wrap. They get the same tasting chicken. So, it's a work in progress, and you just gotta keep on working on it.
That's awesome. That's cool.
There is a little bit of your identity and your energy, you and your brother, just like in the restaurant itself. How do you maintain that while also having franchisees? And have you ever had to say no to anyone who's been like, I want to open up a Tahini's? Like, have you been like,
Yeah, I mean,
right person?
We definitely now like want to pick people that are, we call them like operators, right? So a partner that will work in the restaurant, that's different from like an investor that owns like 7 other restaurants and just wants to put his money into a Tahini's and run a Tahini's. We're trying to steer more towards single operators now, because we feel that is a lot easier to do what you're saying. But again, there's also some operators that run like 7 different restaurants that have built a company, and then they're really, really good, and we're able to train them. The training process here is gruesome. Like it's months and months for these partners to get to suck in and absorb everything that they need to know. So and that training process, we're continuing, like we're working on our side to continue to iterate it, improve it, and make it better. So it works out at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, I know you have a distribution side of your business, right? There's a distribution arm where you kind of distribute your own products, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then what did that come before the franchise, after the franchise? Like where did that kind of fit in the story?
Yeah, so remember when I told you but while we were like setting up the work for the franchise, we realized that supply chain is an issue, especially that all of our products are proprietary, or most of them, right? So our garlic sauce is done a certain way, our chicken marinade is done a certain way, our this
tahini.
Our tahini, yes, exactly. Our tahini is done a certain way. So if you want to have it consistent throughout, we have to sort of centralize that process into one place and then give it out to all the stores. So
Right.
we started a company called Alex Food Service, and at the beginning it was just like a little warehouse, little kitchen that we sort of made everything and distributed to the 4 stores that we had at the time. And yeah, and that was the beginning of Alex. And as we grew the locations and the franchise partners for Tahinis, we grew Alex as well to accommodate to all the new stores that open up, and to try to also, supply, to the food industry as a whole, to other restaurants.
Oh,
Okay,
outside
'cause I
of.
was gonna
Outside
ask,
of Tahinis,
Is
yeah.
it just so it is you are supplying to other restaurants?
Yeah,
that-
so Alex Food Service now is like supplies anybody that has a Middle Eastern restaurant.
Right.
We can supply every single item to
Okay, cool.
to that business
across Canada,
across Ontario,
Ontario. Okay.
for now.
Yeah.
And but eventually we would want to expand to other places. So we have 3 locations in Alberta,
Okay.
and we have also like a little small kitchen that we kind of give out to these stores from.
Yeah.
But as these locations grow, we're looking into also building something similar to what Alex Food Service is right now,
Yeah.
over in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like would you say it's almost like a distribution hub, right? Where you have like a central location that can supply to
Exactly.
Tahinis and then other restaurants within that region.
Yes. Because
Interesting.
we're getting these products as a whole anyways.
So what drove you to get that going, right? Like, was it a supply issue? Like, were you
Yeah,
struggling to
I'm like,
supply yourself? Because you only
Yeah.
had 4 locations,
I'm like
right?
chicken
Yes.
or the egg situation. Like
Yes.
what?
No, it was the need. It was driven by the need for us to supply to our own locations.
Okay.
So the people that you were buying from couldn't keep up with you,
It's
or
not just that they couldn't keep up with us, but it's also that we wanted to send over stuff that we made. And-
This is different.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so like I said, like the garlic sauce, the hummus, we want to have the same consistency throughout.
Right.
So instead of trying to build get hummus making machines and 'cause
Right,
they're
for
big
every
giant
location.
blenders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of getting like giant blenders for all the locations, we get a massive super blender in a central location, and we
see,
make
yeah.
tons. It's like a factory, right? So
Yeah.
mass produce hummus and the sauces, and then send it out to
Yeah.
everybody. That way,
Yeah.
the consistency is the same.
How was the conversation for the first non-Tahini's restaurant to be like, we want your garlic sauce? Like, can you give it to us?
So for other restaurants, we don't give them our sauces.
Okay.
We give them at this point, we give them chicken, just halal chicken, right?
Yeah.
Because everything we do is also halal, so not a lot of other suppliers. Like, it's not a lot of suppliers that offer halal
Yeah.
chicken. So halal chickens, halal meats, halal anything else, and then
Yeah.
specialty products. So, for example, like basmati rice, or we have like certain. They're called Lebanese pickles.
yeah.
They're like finger salty pickles. So we import those in like big giant containers
Right.
from Lebanon. But no restaurant can afford to buy a big giant container of pickles, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if we're giving out to 50, 60 restaurants, we can afford
can
to.
do it, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. So, so that's how it kind of developed, and that's the type of stuff that we sell to different restaurants.
So
And then we're expanding to other types of cuisines as well. So like, it's not just halal, like Middle Eastern type restaurants, but because we have like so many different SKUs now, so we can supply chicken to halal fried chicken stores, or
Right.
or any other store. Like, if we're able to source it and accommodate to them, we'll do it.
That's cool. So when you talk about this number of SKUs, how many SKUs do you guys have then on that side of the business?
And Alex? Oh, I don't know, a lot.
A lot. And then you guys also sell your own. I saw you guys also sell your own like hummus and tahini in stores, like supermarkets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah, so we had a deal with Sobeys that they wanted to offer our hummus and our sauces in their Freshco stores across Ontario.
Did they approach you, or you guys approached them, or how did that work?
It was like a mutual deal that we worked on, and
Okay.
they wanted it, we wanted it, and then
huge.
when we got that deal, we built that product. And now we sell all of our dips. So you can get like Tahini's hummus, Tahini's garlic, or Tahini's like habanero sauce in any Freshco in Ontario.
That's cool.
So
That's
it's
really
really
cool.
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Would you feel, is it possible for another shawarma restaurant to come say, we want Alex to supply us with the garlic sauce, with the hummus, things like that? Or would that be like a direct competitor?
Absolutely. No, we could do that. We'd have to ask them for like, we can't give them the Tahini's proprietary recipe, but garlic sauce is not just a one recipe, so we can make a recipe, or we can make a custom recipe based on what they want.
Okay.
If they want us to make the garlic for them with a certain recipe, we can do that for them and supply them with whatever they need.
But there is something that like you would be like, well, this one's like our secret sauce. Like,
Obviously, we don't give like our proprietary sauces to other
competitors.
Other like shawarma restaurants, because it's our sauce,
Of course.
right? So
it's the Krabby Patty formula.
yeah.
So Ali, marketing is a big deal for Tahinis, right? Like, I think there's definitely like a machine behind Tahini's successes in the marketing. You're obviously the CMO of the company. Talk to us a little bit about your approach to marketing, what that journey's been like as you run the restaurant.
So marketing is now what I mainly do at Tahini's. From the beginning, we had a problem from the beginning, and the problem was we want to get national brand recognition, but we don't have a lot of money. And we're competing against McDonald's, KFC, Chipotle, and everybody else. They have more money than we'll ever see in our lifetimes, right? As their marketing budget alone.
For sure.
Yes,
For sure.
right?
Yeah. They're big companies. They've been around for a long time.
So from there, we were like, okay, so how do we tackle this issue? And how do we get our brand out there? And the only answer that I could come up with is organically. Is to somehow find a way to blow up organically to the whole country and to the whole world.
Yeah.
Because with organically, you don't spend a lot of money on it. You have to be just very creative.
Just easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Sounds
blow
so
up.
easy, right?
Show it to the world.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, it's just do something organically and you should be fine.
How about just go viral? Just do it.
So again, like when I started actually in 20, I think it was like early 2019 or late 2018, and I started doing TikToks for the restaurant. So I opened a restaurant, and I think maybe we're like the first restaurant ever to be on TikTok.
Yeah, that's a great time to get on TikTok. 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then
early.
I just started like playing around with it. Like, if you can go back to on our TikTok and go back to our first TikTok, you'll see some like crude ass shit.
Did you ever do the dances?
Oh yeah, I did the dances. I tried you gotta try everything, right? So I did the dances, I did
love
the
it.
trends,
I love it.
I kept experimenting back and forth.
Yeah.
To see what will kind of like work. And then over time, you just do this for so many years, you figure out what people like from you, because you also you have to see what you can do that's like that people will relate with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we tried it all, and then we found we found the secret sauce in that arena.
Yeah.
And then we just kept going after it. We kept hitting on it again and again and again until, you know, we racked up. We're almost at 1 million followers on TikTok. On YouTube, we're at...
That's huge.
Yeah, we're at like 4 million subscribers between our pages on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more. So we have 2 pages. We have like a Tahinis page, and
Just
we have like
humble.
an Aly Tahinis page.
Yeah.
It's like
I
a
like how you're like,
personal.
I think it's a little bit more than 4 million, whatever. Just
Yeah.
casually.
But hey, no, not casual. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, but it was a lot of, it was years of work.
Yeah.
Like people all think like, oh, you just blew up like that.
Yeah.
But this was started, you know, working on from 2018.
Yeah.
So that's like 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And it took that long to get, you know, where we are today.
now.
But luckily, it worked, and we were able to get more followers and subscribers than McDonald's, Chipotle, and Burger King and Tim
Wow.
Hortons combined.
It's amazing.
So, yeah, and then billions of views, which is something that I never even conceived of,
Yeah.
to get like billions of views.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. Was there like a video like or something that you did that was like that turning point where you saw things like really start to take off?
Yeah, like I started to focus on entertainment and comedy
Yeah.
and creating skits like in our restaurant. So for example, if you look at our pages, which you should subscribe to, by the way, Tahinis restaurants, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere.
Absolutely.
We do like, you know, funny interactions that happen between, for example, the guest and the person that's working on the line, right?
Right.
So and then we just come up with thousands of them, right? So
Are they I gotta ask this. Are they drawn from like real events? Like did
a
these
lot of
things
them are.
actually
A lot of them are, yeah. So, yeah, like we did a series. One of our most viral series was like extra hot sauce, where, you know, customer walks in and he just keeps asking for like, put extra hot sauce. I put extra, and like, no, put extra hot sauce, extra. That was a real life story, actually.
Wow.
And I overblow it a bit.
Right, right. You
on
gotta-
the
yeah,
video,
yeah,
right?
it's a story.
You gotta exaggerate a little
Yeah,
bit. But
yeah.
in real life, you know, somebody did actually do that, and I ended up actually putting like hot sauce in a cup and just giving it to them on top of like all the extra hot sauce that I put on the sandwich. So, yeah, it's a lot of it. You gotta get inspiration from real life.
Yeah.
You can also get inspiration from other people.
Yeah.
Not talking about like copying other people, but getting inspiration
Yeah,
from
yeah,
them.
yeah, absolutely.
So we get inspiration from everybody out there.
Yeah.
We're not like, you know, ashamed of it or anything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
somebody doing something that's cool. We get inspired by it. and
There's
we try to-
trends for sure. Yeah.
yeah, we
there's
try to
definitely
do
trends.
something also similar that matches our personality and our, you know,
Exactly.
brand image and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's sort of like the strategy, and then you just gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
You gotta keep doing it. You gotta stay up with the tech. You can't say like, oh, I'm too cool for TikTok or
Yeah.
oh, TikTok's just for the kids, or you know, like, because a lot of people did say that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know if you remember, like 2018 TikTok was, oh my god, it's
for the kids.
it was just for the kids.
All the dancing and all this
Just
stuff.
There was no business on TikTok
Yeah.
in the year 2018, and now every business is on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every business is on YouTube. Every business is doing content. It's a lot more competitive now,
Yeah.
but we certainly found like the secret sauce that works for us, and that's able to get us where we're at today.
It's really cool.
That is really cool, and I think the reason why like the content is so like funny, it's relatable, is because it is drawing from like real life stories, and like people are like, oh, I could see that, or like that'd be funny if I was working there or if I was that customer. Because I really enjoy that kind of content too, because it just seems so like outrageous, but you know that it could be true, and so it's like that part makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
And I think that your personality really shows through the content as well, which really helps with like people feeling connected not just to Tahinis in the restaurant, but also to you, and just like your sense of humor, and just being like subscribing, I guess, to you in a way.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So it's really cool.
So you started now pulling in influencers, I've noticed, onto your channel. Can you talk to us a little bit like that strategy and that approach?
Yeah, that strategy basically was I wanted to create I wanted to make Tahinis about a group of personalities and characters and not just me and like and Maya, because Maya was back then was like the only one I shot with.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be like sort of, I don't know if you remember, like when TikTok first started, they created something like it's called Hype House, where like Charlie D'Amelio got along with all of the other TikTok stars, and they all got together and started like creating content.
Yeah.
So I sort of wanted to have that approach. So I took inspiration from that, and I wanted to create something similar for Tahini. So I started reaching out to other creators in the space, and I started doing content with them. So we shot with a ton of creators at this point now, like from Ramen Guy, Alk, there's that guy Maxwell, the guy that does ASMR for food.
Love
just
that
tons
content.
of tons of amazing creators that I was able to work with, comedians.
That's cool.
Anybody that's a creator in the space, if you're watching this, reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. Yeah, and it's just a lot of fun. Like when you meet other people in the space, it's a lot of fun. You learn from their ideas as well.
Yeah.
And you get the people that love them also interested and know about Tahinis as a bonus.
Yeah.
Right? So that's also like another positive. I just saw it like as a win-win for everybody, and we're big enough to say like, so that if we work with another creator, it also benefits them.
Yeah.
A lot of times it benefits them more than it benefits us, because we have like more reach and more followers than them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy to do it because it just adds flavor to our content, and it just makes it different.
What would you say to like anyone that's out there that's thinking about, like maybe owns a restaurant, hasn't started anything on social and hasn't done anything on TikTok or anything at all? What would you recommend, like, for them to get started?
Just start, man.
Just start.
Just start.
Yeah.
Start and be consistent and tweak things. Like most of the time, you'll do 100 videos and you'll get nothing, right? It's the people that keep on going that end up making it.
Yeah.
Right? So because like it takes a lot of time to grind that first 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. But once you get there, first of all, you've gotten better at creating content. You have a better idea on what resonates and what doesn't. So you start to focus more on what resonates. So you start doing more stuff that works. And then eventually you just start building this this brand around your business or around yourself, that will eventually benefit your restaurant.
What would you say was the
huge.
biggest challenge though? Like, because it's you make it sound easy. Obviously, like it's hard as a business, as an owner operator, running a restaurant, to be like, I'm gonna do TikTok videos now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Yeah, so with us, because I have two partners with me,
Right.
I was able to focus on that.
I see.
Like, give it all my attention.
Right.
Right? If you're running this solo, you wouldn't be able to focus on the restaurant stuff, focus on the supply stuff, supply chain stuff,
Yeah.
focus on the others. So, you know, if you want, like, if you want advice, like, I would say, you know, get people you trust and build a team that you trust, and then you can, if you don't have time to do that, then maybe, you know, partner up with somebody that can
help.
and is willing to put 100% into it and manage the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what worked with all restaurants in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at, like, for example, Shelby's, they're two partners, right? So
Yeah.
Yazan is handling all the restaurant stuff, and then Yasser is like focus on the social media. Look at there's a cool, also up and coming restaurant that was able to do exactly that. The name of it is Chef's Door.
Chef. Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So Chef's Door is this amazing, adorable, like, Egyptian chef that
cool.
had a restaurant, and his son's
doing it all for him.
is doing all the social media stuff for him, and he just kept doing content with his dad. And now he's blown up all over, right? So this is you gotta have a team that is able to see the importance of that and focus on that.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff that I said, just be consistent and do all that.
Was there ever a time where your partners were like, "This isn't working. It's been 200 videos. Like, get back to work."
Yeah, I mean, no, because, like,
They trusted
we
you.
started, like, we started seeing results because when we were early, it was, you know, we were getting like 500 views in a video or 200 views in a video, and it was just and then we'd get like one video that did like 60,000 views, and we'd like, whoa, like, okay,
this is working.
there's something there.
Something here.
There's something there. We just have to figure it out, right? So we could keep trying. We go back to like maybe not to 500, but we go back to maybe like getting 800 views. 800, and then one video would get like 120,000 views, right? And they were like, whoa. Okay, so we need to
keep going with that route.
Keep going with that route and keep
those
doing this.
videos gave you that.
Yeah, they gave me that
validation
fuel.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, this is.
Like,
I think
keep
we're onto
going.
something here.
Yes, yeah, and you're right. So maybe if I didn't get those videos, I would have gotten discouraged. Maybe, but that never happened with us. Yeah.
So if you had to do it all again, starting right now, so starting from scratch, what would you do, like, step by step, to kind of get to where you're at now?
Yeah. So just in the marketing side of things.
Yeah, marketing side of things, social
just
organic side of things.
Create 100 videos and try to get a tiny bit better every video. Like 1% better. You know? So 100 videos, you can't see if it works or doesn't work before you created 100 pieces of content. Create 100 pieces of content, and every piece try to get a little bit better, and then just follow, and then you have to, like, try to see what works and what doesn't, hammer on what works and what doesn't, and just keep at it. And then once you reach 100, that's when you need to, like, sort of double down, right? Because that's when you need to tweak your strategy and be consistent and be that. And then at 100, you also have a little bit of a following. If you have a little bit of a following, that's all the fuel that you need to keep going. So you just gotta keep going and then continue getting that 1% better. A lot of people, like, underestimate the 1% better, but, like, if you do 100 videos and you just do 1% better every video, it's like
You're 100% better.
100% better, right? So
That's right.
It's simple. It's hard to say I want to make, like, from the get-go, I want to make the best video I could possibly get, and I want it to go viral from the start.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's why people get discouraged, because they'll make one video or a couple videos and it's like, okay,
This isn't working.
yeah, we didn't go viral, so therefore it's not working, and
Yeah.
therefore we should never be on TikTok, and this was stupid, and just kind of get frustrated
That's
and
usually
leave.
what happens with
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
They,
But it's
they,
like-
they put like 5 videos out there or 10 videos out there.
Mm-hmm.
They get no views, and then they get super discouraged.
Yeah.
And they just give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So you
everyone
just
here
can't- yeah.
is like, well, you even said like this was 6 years in the making, and I think like a lot of times though people are seeing if they wanted to start right now, like if I was looking to open up my restaurant, of course organic and social media is really important to it seems discouraging to come in a space where you were talking about like McDonald's, the big brands have like a huge marketing budget, so it's like, how am I going to compete? But it's like, just start, just do it,
Yeah.
and just get yourself out there, because it is free to just put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Okay, so I want to switch gears, right?
Okay.
Bitcoin's on your shirt. There's a Bitcoin ATM in the background.
Yes.
I didn't even notice that at first. Wait.
I know. It's just
Wait, how do you?
people might be like, what is going on here
Subtle.
with Tahinis and Bitcoin? It's very subtle the placements. I like it a lot.
It's so random.
But for those people that don't know, you're a little bit of a Bitcoin, or you are a Bitcoin influencer in a sense, right? With Aly, I think it's called Aly Investing.
No. So we just build our Bitcoin influence through Tahinis.
Through Tahinis.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. Like, what's your involvement in Bitcoin? How did that come to be? Because as we're sitting today, Bitcoin's over about 60,000, I think it is.
Yeah.
US.
66,000, I think.
66,000 US, which is huge. So talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how did that come to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So Bitcoin is actually like one of the most passionate subjects I love talking about. So I found Bitcoin in 2020, right after the pandemic hit. If you remember, there was a big crash in the market back then at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then what happened was I was sitting on some cash in my personal life, and then I went in when everything crashed. I was like, okay, this is the Warren Buffett time, where you go in when there's
Right.
blood on the streets and you just buy everything, right?
Yeah.
So I sort of did that. I went in and I bought everything. And among the things that I bought was Bitcoin. Okay. But I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. I didn't even know what it was or anything. I was just like, okay, it's down 50%. I'll just buy it. So after I bought it, I started learning about it and reading about it and studying it.
After you bought it?
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes with most investments. By the way.
I think this is hot. Let's just buy it and then we'll figure out what it's all about after.
I don't know what this
You
is, but
mostly, like you do most of the learning after you buy something.
You don't want to miss out.
Yeah. So I started learning about it, and then, to be honest, the more I learned, the more I bought. But the more I realized that this was like a revolutionary technology it has changed the way we see money forever. And it's a big statement to make.
Yeah.
But if you go down the rabbit hole like I did, you will inevitably come to that conclusion. And the conclusion is we as civilization, we have gone from money to money to money to money, and the monies come in different forms, right? So we used to trade in like seashells and glass beads and then whatever commodities, and then we went to like metals, silver and coin
Gold,
and gold, and then we went from gold to like paper money, which is attached to gold. And then governments wanted to spend more, so they kept debasing the value of the money to that gold, because they kept going on wars and funding the Vietnam War and this war and that war and World War II and World War I. so that connection of the paper money to the gold that was essentially backing it at first started decreasing until it just separated completely.
Yeah.
And now we just have paper money, right? Which the supply of it is increasing at an increasing rate, right? And that's the part that a lot of people don't really grasp how big and how bad it is, right? So the supply of the money that you work for is increasing at an increasing rate. It's not just like going up like this, it's like going up like this, right? So in 2020, we saw that, and we saw the world printing, I think it was like combined, it was like, 15 to 20 trillion dollars in the span of like a year.
Yeah.
Right? And the money printer was going, and then it made me just sort of like think about the question of what is money, right? And that ties to Bitcoin very well, because Bitcoin is a money that has absolute scarcity. Not just scarcity, but absolute scarcity, right? And we've never seen a money like that in history. So even with gold is, a lot of people consider it as hard money. The word hard money comes actually from gold, right? But gold still adds 2% supply every year. So gold essentially has an inflation rate of 2% a year. So 2% a year means over 30 years, you lose half your money. That's what 2% means. A lot of people, oh, it's just 2%.
Yeah.
2% is half your money gone in 30 years. So Bitcoin is the first money that we've had that is absolutely scarce. It's fixed 21 million coins. There's never going to be more than 21 million. And these are the rules. And the kicker about it is that it was built and developed in a way where it's decentralized, right? So, meaning there's no central control that can change the rules of that money.
Yeah.
Right? So, which also means there's no government that can come in and say, okay, we're just gonna print like 1 million more Bitcoin.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. It's a monetary system based on rules and not rulers. And then people say, okay, but if they really, really wanted to, they would. Well, that's where the power of Bitcoin, like if you see on TV, like you see a lot of those Bitcoin miners,
right,
in remote places in the world, spending a lot of electricity, and then you see them like buzzing with sounds and stuff like that. That is what's backing the system and what's protecting it. So that is what's just not allowing any government or any company or any individual to have any control on Bitcoin whatsoever. And when you think about it like that, you're like, okay, this is huge. This is huge. So I went all in personally back in 2020. After I, went down the rabbit hole and started
so you
learning
bought a little
more.
bit and then learned more about it. You're like, never mind, I'm all in.
Yeah, so I bought a little bit, and then you learn more. I bought a little bit more. You learn more, bought more and more, and then I started selling all my other stocks and stuff, and then buying more Bitcoin and selling and buying and selling and buying, and then at some point I was like, I ran out of money, so to buy more Bitcoin,
but you wanted more.
But I wanted more, so I was able to convince my partners to buy it from the company. So we bought Bitcoin from Tahinis, the corporation, and then we just decided to tweet about it. So we tweeted about it, and then it went viral.
So where along the Tahini's journey is this? Is this pre-franchise? Is
this was August of 2020.
I see.
Okay.
August of 2020.
In the heart of
Like,
COVID, basically.
The heart of COVID,
Yeah.
the heart of the mania, the heart of the free money being given around to everybody. We were like, eventually, all this free money going around, eventually money will be worthless.
Right.
Not like worthless like nothing, but worth less.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot less. And so we just, we bought a lot of Bitcoin and we kept buying ever since. And then we didn't just buy it, but we adopted it as a strategy, right? So our strategy as a business now, we have two parts of the business that we need to strategize on. We have the income strategy, which is all the restaurant activities, the growing the restaurants, to bring the marketing, all that. That's the income strategy. And then we have a balance sheet strategy. The balance sheet strategy is we just don't want to get robbed, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We just want to put all of our work that we did over here, we want to use the technology to save that work for the long term. And then we found it as I found it as a really revolutionary idea, and I wanted everybody to see it.
Right.
Right? So that's why I started talking about it and tweeting about it and making shirts that says the Bitcoin standard, this is the Bitcoin. We're on a Bitcoin standard, It's a scary thought, but it would benefit anybody that adopts it. And after we came out and said that, we started talking about it and promoting it, Bitcoin shot up from $10,000 to $60,000 within the span of a year and a half.
Interesting.
And then we were like, oh, these guys are geniuses and whatnot, right? and then it crashed.
Yeah.
Right? So it crashed from
That's an emotional roller coaster.
yeah.
Right?
Tell me about it.
And then all the I told you so's come out.
Yeah.
I told you so.
So it crashed from 60 to 20. We were everybody a lot of people were laughing at us and came out with I told you so and stuff but if you think about it, we were up double
Yeah.
on what we put in. We weren't crying or upset, or obviously we were upset a little bit as it's going down. It's just natural.
But you
emotion.
kind of knew, you kind of anticipated there's going to be a little
But
bit of
I
a
knew,
up and down.
and I knew what that technology is, and that eventually this thing will be measured in the millions. It's just math at this point. The fiat system. The fiat system is the currency system, right? The government money system. It's designed to increase forever, right? And then when you pair that system with a system that is designed to be fixed forever, it's just math at this point. This number will go up.
It'll keep
no
going
matter.
up.
It'll keep going up forever. Not just keep going up, but keep going up forever. And that's the key.
Yeah.
So if you want to protect your time and your work, because money, not to sound materialistic or this or that, but money is a measure of your time and effort, right? You work, you put time to make money, and that money represents the time that you worked.
Yeah.
If that money gets debased, that means somebody's stealing your time,
Right.
right? So if you put it into something that's fixed, then you get that fixed amount, that fixed percentage of that monetary system forever
Yeah.
I see.
if you hold on to it.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
changes is the price up and down. But as in reality, you're not getting debased within that monetary system, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I then ended up while we were on that high, I ended up talking to politicians and trying to. I pitched the finance minister and the members of parliament to buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin.
You were really ride or die Bitcoin.
Yeah, seriously, like, are you talking like the Canadian government?
Yeah, the Canadian government.
What?
Yeah.
Like
So
what?
yeah, they invited me to pitch the idea of Bitcoin. I told them you should borrow $10 billion from the central bank
And buy Bitcoin.
and buy Bitcoin with it,
And
because
what'd they say?
they laughed at me. All right, and Bitcoin was like at 40,000 or something back then.
Yeah,
Now Bitcoin's at 90,000 Canadian. So
that's right. Who's laughing?
who's laughing now? Right? Like,
That's very true.
you know,
Yeah.
they probably would have made just a shit ton of money
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
listened to me, because
Yeah.
they probably would have bought near the lows or something like
Why
that.
don't you tell me? I would have done it.
I was trying. I was blowing the microphone off, right?
So go back to the restaurant a little bit, because people invest in Bitcoin, right? That's not a new thing. Like, obviously, like, a lot of people have very similar stories of like, oh, I discovered Bitcoin, and the stories are endless, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has different journeys, whether they're in it now or planning to get into it or whatever it is. But talk to me about why tying it to Tahinis, right? Like, bringing those two together doesn't naturally seem like a natural fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking Middle Eastern restaurant, and you're talking cryptocurrency. Like, why that decision?
When you have a problem with the monetary system, it doesn't just affect you personally, but affects your family and affects your business. It affects your company, because your company works on the fiat system. It generates dollars,
Yeah.
right? So anything that has to do with fiat currencies is affected by this problem,
Right.
and which is the problem of slowly but gradually but consistently debasing the money forever,
Yeah.
right? So if you look at I'm just gonna go like a little more geeky here, but like if you look at the S&P 500, which is like the top 500 companies in the U.S., the companies that are making money are like the top 10.
Yeah.
The rest of the 490 companies,
Yeah.
they're all going down, or like staying stable, or not getting ahead,
Right.
right? So only the monopolies are making money.
Yeah.
Everybody else is struggling, right? They call them the Magnificent Seven, or it's like the top 10 companies,
Yeah.
and they're all monopolies, right? So, every company has a problem. And the problem is that they can't increase their cash flows fast enough to keep up with the inflation rate. So the inflation rate, and by the way, the real inflation rate it's bullshit. The real inflation rate is how much money you're just adding to the economy.
Yeah.
That's the real
Yeah.
inflation rate.
Yeah.
The real inflation rate is about like 15%. That's the real inflation rate. So if you're not growing your cash flows by more than 15% every year, then you're falling behind,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So a way that companies can work around this or protect themselves in a way is you can try to grow your company at a modest natural growth rate of 5%, 10%, and save your profits in Bitcoin for the long term. And I say for the long term because Bitcoin is very volatile right now. We're in an adoption phase right now, and it just goes up and down a lot. But over a 4 years, minimum of 4 year period,
Right.
it's an investment tool. So if you take some of that money and you put it in Bitcoin from the balance sheet as a balance sheet strategy, you're able to kind of overcome the debasement of the currency that happens on the other side
Right.
over a long period of time.
But Ali, why tie it to the brand? Like, why tie it to Tahinis as a brand? Like, why? Like, it makes sense, obviously, to do it like behind
Yeah.
the scenes,
Yeah.
putting it front and center with the brand. Like, obviously, you have the merchandise, you got ATMs at the stores.
Yeah.
Why tying it to the brand? What was
I
that
just
kind
think
of thought?
to be honest, I'm just passionate about it, and I think everybody needs it.
Everyone should know about
And
it.
I think like I think it's like it's something that's inevitable, and I want as many like everybody that that I love, including my friends, my family, like the audience, my audience. I want them to know about this.
Know about it,
right?
yeah.
So I'm trying to, teach. I'm not trying to sell it to them.
Yeah, you're raising awareness essentially.
I'm raising awareness.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying like, hey, like, look, I'm doing this. It helped me a lot.
Yeah.
It continues to help me. It's pretty cool technology. Look at what it can do. Look at what's happening on the other side. Please pay attention to this.
Right.
I'm here to help.
And
Right.
is there any benefit to you doing that? So say like you convince me to get Bitcoin. Is there any benefit?
No.
Right. So
if
you're just doing it purely out of like.
Yeah, like if Bitcoin's like $1 trillion market cap.
Yeah.
If I convince 1,000 people to buy like $1 million of Bitcoin each, it doesn't move the price at all,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
It doesn't. I don't get any monetary benefit. Plus, I already said like I don't sell this stuff, so I just hold it forever, right?
So the
Yeah.
inspiration behind just
Yeah.
telling people and tying it to the brand.
Yeah,
is
I'm just tell people like, and also like, I think there's a benefit of if I'm trying to help people with their finances, then it's just it's just an integrity thing to do. Like as a brand image, I see that as a good thing. Like, hey, like we're trying to help you, not just give you food, but we're trying to also tell you how you can make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
So I don't see anything negative out of it. And then when people do make money, they end up loving our brand because like, hey,
You
Tahini's
made me money.
convinced me to buy that, and then now look, I'm made a lot of money doing this, and so they end up loving
I'm gonna love the
Tahinis
brand
more.
even more. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a win-win-win type thing.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's basically. Yeah, sorry I kept going on for.
No, that's great.
That's okay.
That's
I
really
can
good.
see
going
your face
on.
lighting up like as you're speaking about it. It's like I'm almost convinced.
The passion's there for sure.
I definitely have like a lot of validation now also because like Bitcoin did its thing and the price is back up, like
Right,
shooting,
Yeah.
flirting with all-time highs
Yeah.
now and stuff like that. A lot of like in the past year I was sort of like down about, because whenever I would talk to somebody about it, they were like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But now I feel like when I talk about it, people are more receptive.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
makes
kind of
sense.
got the enthusiasm back in a way,
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, I feel like we should kind of wrap up, but this has been like great conversation so far.
Yeah, happy to do it.
I guess our last question is, unless you have something else to ask, but what do you see as the future of Tahini's restaurants?
Yeah,
what can we
that's actually what I wanted to
expect from
ask.
you?
I see Tahini's going to the States. I see Tahini's going into other countries as well. I see our brand getting bigger and bigger from being innovative as a whole.
Yeah.
I see eventually we're going to a world where like Tahini's is a multinational company that's in like at least 3 countries, and then the brand is growing bigger and bigger. When exactly that will happen, I don't know. Right? I just see us moving forward,
Yeah.
and we're gonna continue moving forward no matter what. So whether it's this year, next year, the year after,
Yeah.
but it's happening. Our focus now is to sort of continue growing in Canada, more, also expand more in the West Coast and move to the States. The States would be a big move for us, and we're kind of working on it right now. But yeah, one day it's gonna happen.
I do have one last question though. Like when you look at everything that you guys have been able to accomplish, which is amazing, by the way. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. But what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur, someone who wants to get into the restaurant industry, hasn't actually started their career path yet, You know what I mean? And are looking, or they're looking to scale their restaurant. Like, what advice would you give right now to someone like you has obviously seen it all by now?
Yeah, I mean, from the marketing side, I already did like what you should do. So I'm not going to talk about the marketing side. From the operational side, you should just be tenacious and surround yourself by tenacity, right? Surround yourself by people that are willing to wake up and fight with you till the death, right? You can't do this alone. It's very hard to do this alone.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is focus. Focus your energy. A lot of people like want to, they're like, they try like 10 different other things all at once, and then they fail in all of them, and then they say, oh, like, I wasn't able to succeed. But if you focus your energy onto one thing and put everything you have onto it, eventually you'll get it. You'll focus your energy, surround yourself by tenacious people, and be a man of your word in doing business in general. I'd say is a good philosophy to have. If you say you're going to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Gain trust among people you do business with.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing. And never stop, man. Never stop. And failing is good. Failing, if you fail and you like learn, learn. My mother actually gave me one of the best pieces of advice. Still learn from it till this day. She's like, dumb people don't learn from their mistakes. Smart people learn from their mistakes. And then a genius learns from other people's mistakes.
I love that.
So see what mistakes people have done and try to learn from them.
Yeah.
So reading books is a great way for that, because like reading a book about somebody's life or somebody's or somebody talking about a certain subject, in a lot of ways you're learning from all the mistakes that they've done and all the knowledge that they have gained.
Yeah.
So read a ton, and just put all these things together.
Yeah.
I love it.
Read a ton, watch some videos, listen to the Built by Me podcast.
That's right.
All the things that will really help you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ali, this was great. Honestly, thank you so much.
Man.
This
Happy
is really
to do
awesome.
it.
Yeah,
Happy to do
Thank you
it. Thanks for
coming on.
having me.
This was a great conversation.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
And we ask all of our guests, where can people find you? Where do you want
Yes.
them to?
Social media at Tahini's Restaurants. And if you want to learn about our Bitcoin road or journey, follow us on Twitter or X at The Real Tahinis. And on there, we just talk about Bitcoin. So you won't find our food content there, but you find our financial advice there. So
Love it.
we'll see you there.
And it's great content. You'll love it. And I don't know if whoever's watching, if you're not just listening, if you're also watching, we're also at one of the Tahinis restaurants, and it's an amazing location.
That's why it's loud.
Yeah, yeah. In case you heard that,
It's lunchtime.
But, yeah, go check out the restaurants too. And go eat the Blueberry Flame or butter chicken shawarma.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ali.
Thanks for being on. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Built by Me podcast. We were so happy with the conversation we had with Aly from Tahinis. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and to follow us on social media at Built by Me podcast. Until next time, keep building.